What is up, everybody? Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now. Chase Senior here with you. And as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. What we're getting into here, following the NFL trade deadline, where obviously Howie Roseman made 3 trades in the lead up to it, Michael Carter, Jair Alexander, and Jalen Phillips. I want to take a look at the top free agent targets who the Eagles could sign if they have a position or a spot of need after the deadline. Let's begin here, though. To all my real ones out there, let me ask you a question. Are you a diehard Eagles fan? A lot of you watching this show, you are, right? Well, if you want Eagles coverage and shows every single day, year-round, I'm bringing the heat. This is your go-to spot. Hit that subscribe button, but also turn on your notifications by hitting that bell icon and hit all. Therefore, anytime we publish a show like this, anytime we go live, you will be notified. Top free agent number 1. For the Birds here. And really, I'm honing in on positions of need for Howie Roseman's football team. CJ Uzomah, tight end. Now, why this could make sense for the Eagles and more background on the player. He was with the Birds last year. He gives you really good size at 6'6", 262 pounds. CJ Uzomah has never been a dynamic, athletic freak of a tight end who's a great pass catcher, right? But he's a really good blocking tight end. What have the Eagles missed this year outside of Dallas Goedert? And Dallas Goedert is one of the best all-around tight ends in football, and he's a terrific blocker. They have missed having a tight end behind Goedert who's a stout blocker, especially when they go jumbo, when they go heavy. Grant Calcaterra, not a good blocker. They have used Cam Latu, a practice squad-level player, as that type of blocker and fullback, and he's been good in those spots. But if the Eagles feel as though they have a need at backup tight end and they want to go heavy and they want a tight end who can help them with some of these heavy jumbo looks, CJ Uzomah can help them there. Plus, he has familiarity with this scheme. 5th round pick in 2015. He spent time with the Bengals, Jets, and Eagles. He didn't play in the Super Bowl last year, but did get a Super Bowl ring with the Eagles. Didn't catch a pass, but again, they used him primarily as a blocker, and he did some H-back with Philadelphia as well as a pretty good lead blocker for this offense. Why the Eagles would elect to do this is if they wanted to bring in the blocking tight end, as I mentioned, who could play a little fullback as well. Free agent target number 2 goes along the interior offensive line for the Eagles here, and that is Brandon Scherff. Now, going into the deadline, I had said interior offensive line is a sneaky need for the Eagles, and I pinpointed Jackson Powers-Johnson as a player who I would love for the Eagles to go after. Tyler Steen's been fine, but is fine good enough in a year where you think that you can win a Super Bowl, where you can go back-to-back? The depth pieces along the interior also aren't great, or if there is an injury that were to happen along the interior offensive line, Brandon Scherff could make a semblance of sense, right? 5th overall pick in 2015. Good size, more of a slender interior offensive lineman, but he's really tall, 6'5", 315 pounds, a very well-accomplished player in his career, a first-team All-Pro in 2020, a 5-time Pro Bowler with Washington. They drafted him in 2015 out of Iowa, and last year with Jacksonville, he played pretty solid. I'm actually surprised that teams with offensive line needs haven't brought him in. Maybe he's just content at this point of his life and of his career. 74.5% pass blocking grade according to Pro Football Focus. He played more than 1,000 snaps on offense at right guard last year. Did not give up a sack of Trevor Lawrence or Mac Jones. Only gave up 1 hit. Did give up 17 pressures. He got beat somewhat often along the interior. Why the Eagles would do this is if they wanted more insurance along the interior offensive line. For a stretch run, he would know that he doesn't have to get the body ready for a full 17-game slate, but if he had to get the body ready for a few games, maybe he'd be able to do that. Howie Roseman said yesterday, you can never have enough corners, and their corner depth was tested early on in the year. Look at what he did going into the deadline. Traded for Michael Carter, traded for Jair Alexander. Stephon Gilmore is still out there. Yes, he's older, not the player who he once was. He's 35 years old, But the pedigree, the resume, obviously very impressive. Defensive Player of the Year in 2019, a former first-team All-Pro. He was a Pro Bowler as recently as 2021. Last year played for the Vikings, and the Vikings did have one of the best defenses in the NFL, and he played a lot. And when Howie Roseman is building his roster, he always looks at the lines first on defense and on offense, obviously. But on defense, he looks at the defensive line, looks at corner as that secondary primary group. Last year in 2024 for Gilmore, his coverage numbers targeted 80 times, did give up 49 catches, 520 yards, 3 touchdowns in coverage allowed, did have 9 pass breakups and a pick, and a quarterback rating allowed of 87.5. I always want you to be involved in this show. I want you to have a voice on this show. So is there a free agent who you want the Eagles to sign? If that's the case, drop that name for me down below in the comment section right now. Let's get to our sponsor before we get to a couple of marquee free agents who I know you're excited to hear about. And our friends at Ridge, making today's Philadelphia Eagles now possible. I've been using this wallet for a long time. It's practical, it's sleek, it's durable, and I'm somebody who hates having too much in my pockets. This really helps me because it holds up to 12 cards, and it's thinner than my iPhone. I love it, and I want you to test it out for yourselves. Head to ridge.com/chat, and I don't think you're ever going to go back because this is also a wallet that will last you forever. My old wallet, it was a giant crusty leather brick. It was so big and heavy, shoot, at times I was convinced it made my back hurt. But the Ridge 2.0 is the most refined version of the Ridge wallet. They've been perfecting the wallet for 12 years. Everything is better with this. It's 10% lighter. Every gram matters in the Ridge Wallet 2.0. They found the perfect balance. They made it more modular with improved cash straps, money clips, and the AirTag attachments. And the surface design is also really cool. It's made with premium materials like aluminum, titanium, and carbon fiber. And they have over 50 plus colors and styles to choose from. I'm pretty simple, so I just like the black one. But if you're a diehard Eagles fan watching this show and you're in need of a wallet, there you go. How beautiful is that? Over 100,000 five-star reviews. This is proof that Ridge is a gift that people love to receive. And they're not just about wallets. They create premium everyday carry essentials like key cases, suitcases, and their game-changing power banks, all built with the same sleek, durable design. You'll find the perfect gift for every wish list. So here you go. For a limited time, Ridge is having their huge Black Friday sale. Head to ridge.com. Ladies and gentlemen, get up to 47% off your order. This is by far the biggest discount they've given all year. That's ridge.com/chat for up to 47% off your order during their biggest sale of the year. After you make your purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Free agent target number 4 for the Birds. This is a player who's gaining a lot of buzz and traction and attention. That is Asante Samuel Jr. Of course, his pops, a legendary cornerback in the National Football League for the New England Patriots, and then with the Philadelphia Eagles. You felt as though in big-time spots, it was Asante Samuel back in the day for the Birds and the Pats who was always making a big play. He was a gambler on the outside. He wasn't the best tackler, but my goodness, he was a marquee playmaker at that corner spot, did such a great job of reading the eyes of the quarterback. He has a lot of visits set up here, and this is obviously a fluid situation. Jordan Schultz with this reporting that Samuel Jr., who was recently cleared by doctors after undergoing a spinal fusion procedure, is starting to take visits. He's going to have visits with the Panthers. And then also, he's getting some additional visits that are starting to pile in here. So the Panthers are one, Green Bay Packers another one, Minnesota Vikings, the San Francisco 49ers showing some interest as well. This is a player who was a second-round pick out of Florida State in 2021, and he's primarily been an outside corner, double-digit pass breakups every single season except for last year when he hurt his shoulder. And then that ended up being that neck spinal issue that he was dealing with. He had also long been dealing with stinger symptoms. And so I'm hoping that he can get on the road to recovery, and hopefully this is a sign that he's on that road to recovering, because this is a really talented player who's still young, and I think he has some really good football left in him, obviously. And then lastly, if the Eagles want to upgrade at safety or bring in a depth piece at safety, Justin Simmons, surprisingly, is still out there. And obviously this is a move that we talked about a few times here on the show, and it would make a lot of sense for Philadelphia. He played under Vic Fangio. He knows defensive backs coach Christian Parker from their Broncos days together. He was an all-pro under Fangio. The Eagles don't have a ton of safety depth right now. Blankenship, Makuba, Sidney Brown, that's really it. Marcus Epps is on injured reserve. That's probably why the Eagles are cross-training Michael Carter to play a little bit of safety. Makuba, I like him as a player. I said this when they drafted him, but he has had his lapses in coverage. And if the Eagles just want a veteran, experienced presence back there, Justin Simmons would fit that bill. So if the Eagles do make a move, you always know we're going to keep you in the know right here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And again, let me know a player who's out there in free agency who you'd like the Eagles to pinpoint and go after.